Not only will this procedure be deeply traumatic for the subject, but the associated subconscious interference will leave him brain dead. Dead. Believe me, this is a bad way to go.
How's it going, gamers? Luis here from Gaming Vlog Network, and for the last couple of days I've been playing Black Ops 3, so I think it's time to review this game. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 follows the tradition of futuristic sci-fi weaponry that was established in the recent installments of the Call of Duty franchise. Soldiers use computer technology that's connected to their brain to become super soldiers or a whole new breed of Black Ops soldiers. This new computer brain tech allows soldiers to connect to computers, robots, or even other human beings. The campaign dabbles in the topics of brainwashing and human mental health care, asking questions like what one should consider humane and inhumane. How can we tackle these controversial topics? Killing robots, of course. In all seriousness, the robot enemies are actually pretty cool. They come in many different varieties that make tackling each one of them different. You can't just shoot every single one of them and expect them to fall apart. Sometimes they'll have a defensive shield that you'll need to disable with an automatic weapon, and then take down the machine with an RPG. As far as the plot goes, you play as a soldier set in a dystopian future 40 years after the events of Black Ops 2. Advancements in robotics and brain-computer technology have changed the global war scene, having people question whether or not these advancements in technology, along with the combination of human life, is right or wrong. Without spoiling the plot too much, you're really in for a mind trip with this campaign. Something new that's introduced with this campaign is the different trees of playstyle, one that focuses on weaponry, another on close combat, and another on controlling robotics. Each playstyle offers something different and, more importantly, a breath of fresh air with the campaign. Although you'll still be using guns no matter what playstyle you use, choosing something like the close combat tree as your main focus can greatly alter the gameplay and the feeling of the Call of Duty combat. Rather than spraying down many different enemies, you're rushing down human enemies and punching through robots. It's definitely a new feeling for the Call of Duty franchise, but ultimately the way you play is up to you. One great thing about this mechanic is that it actually introduces new replayability with the campaign. You can play the campaign while focusing on something like the close combat tree, but then come back later and replay missions while focusing on a different tree. This creates new ways to go through each mission, and it definitely is a refreshing new feel for the Call of Duty franchise. One thing I thought was a bit odd though was locking some of the tech power-ups that I thought would be made default in the gameplay. Something like being able to run on walls is something that's locked behind an upgrade tree that you must attach to your loadout. Sure, this offers some new ways to play because now the missions offer different pathways for those that have the perk and those that don't have the wall run perk. But ultimately, it really feels like it should be like a new gameplay mechanic like in the multiplayer mode, not something that you have to upgrade and attach to your loadout. Now there's some slight differences between the current gen and the last gen versions of this game, with the most important piece being a lacking campaign mode in the last gen versions. After completing the campaign on the Xbox One version, I can definitely tell you why this is scrapped on last generation hardware. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 offers some of the biggest destructive set pieces in the series, with a heavy focus on 4-player co-op mode in the campaign. It's no wonder why this specific version of the campaign or vision of the campaign wasn't limited just so it could run on the PS3 and the 360. Now moving on to the multiplayer mode, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 has a very similar multiplayer mode to last year's Advanced Warfare. Loadouts work in groups of 10. You're able to choose 10 items for your loadouts, may it be attachments, perks, guns, or grenades. It's really fast paced with the addition of the thruster packs and the wall running. You're able to run along walls, jumping out of the ocean, and climbing buildings to get your kills, and because you're able to fire your gun whenever, no matter the situation, all these factors make for an extremely fast-paced, chaotic multiplayer mode. Something really awesome and new introduced in Black Ops 3 are the new specialist classes for the multiplayer mode. These are different classes of soldiers that each have different power-ups. One may choose a class that allows you to see through walls, while another focuses on close combat. These different classes introduce something that I haven't really felt with the Call of Duty series, and that's teamwork. The heavy focus on teamwork in something like the Battlefield series is something I've always really appreciated, and this new specialist feature with the different classes in Black Ops 3 introduces something just like it. It gives you the potential to coordinate with your team. Someone with the transparent wall ability can guard objectives, while someone like the Ripper class can run up to enemies in the battlefield and take them out. The new specialist system in Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is a real game changer for the series, but ultimately it's up to the players to coordinate teamwork with their friends in order to make it work and actually go up to its full potential. And finally, the new Zombies mode. Zombies is back in Call of Duty Black Ops 3 with Shadow of Evil. Shadow of Evil takes place during the 1940s in Morgue City. You have a brand new cast of 4 noir-like characters ranging from Nero Blackstorm, the Magician voiced by Jeff Goldblum, Jessica the Dancer voiced by Heather Graham, Jack Sinsett the Cop, and Floyd Campbell the Boxer voiced by Ron Perlman. The gameplay is very similar to previous zombie entries in the series. All these characters are a cast of murderers and generally really bad people, all thrown together. The fact that they all pretty much don't trust each other makes for some very interesting story elements. In terms of gameplay, it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect it to be. You earn money over time to unlock weapons, and you can buy these weapons from walls or unlock new paths to progress the story. There's a new power-up ability that allows you to become the Beast, an incredibly powerful transformation perk that really tests the player on when to use it at the right time because it's still limited in terms of how long it lasts. The game lasts as long as you can survive, and like any other zombies mode before it, it focuses heavily on teamwork to survive. If you already don't really like the Call of Duty franchise and the series in general, this one probably won't change your mind. However, there are some slight changes with the formula in Call of Duty with this game in particular that I really enjoyed, like the Specialist class, as well as all the different ways to play through the campaign. These new features really add fresh life and ideas to the Call of Duty franchise. I only hope that the next game in the series improves upon these ideas and doesn't go back to square one. If you already like Call of Duty or were at least somewhat engaged with the series, I'd recommend this title. The campaign truly is a mind trip. The multiplayer mode, although it feels somewhat the same as last year, still has some much welcome improvements that I hope are just stepping stones and major changes to the series as a whole in the future. The new Shadows of Evil Zombies campaign offers a unique cast of characters that makes for an interesting story, but it doesn't really change too much with the formula that many have come to love anyway. So overall, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is actually a pretty good game. As someone who actually got really bored with the series in recent years and thought it was getting stale, I found that the changes that Treyarch made with this series is actually pretty good and really enjoyable. It left me really happy, and so I hope that the next two developers that make the next two installments in the series don't just go back to square one and further improve upon these ideas that Treyarch has been making and add it over to Black Ops 3. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 doesn't dramatically change the formula of the series, but it does change it slightly and it's heading towards the right direction. For those of you already fans of the game, you're gonna love this one, and for those of you that don't really like the series too much, it's not the dramatic change you guys probably want, but it's heading towards there. So thank you guys very much for watching this review. I hope you guys found it useful and enjoyable, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.